Angeba Sojola here. In this video, we'll be fundamentally speaking about the geopolitics of Lesotho, right? Now, when we look at Lesotho, firstly, it is a country which is found in South Africa, right? In the southern parts of Africa. Now, when we look at Lesotho, Lesotho is about 1,000 meters, that's about 1 kilometer higher in altitude in comparison to the rest of the region. It is home to half of the rainfall in comparison to the 4% landmass that it occupies. There are no significant mineral deposits in Lesotho, even though you can find traces or small scale mining of things like gemstones and diamonds. There are no large tracts of arable land. There is a degree of subsistence farming that can be done in the area, but there are no large tracts of arable land that are found in Lesotho. But the one resource which you can find in Lesotho in bounty, in hordes, in large amounts, is a resource which can be claimed to be one of the most important resources that you can find on planet Earth. This resource is basically known as water, fresh water. With the discovery of gold in South Africa, specifically in an area known as Gauteng, there was an increase in the mines that were established around that area. There was also an increase of farms which were established around that area, and also an increase of manufacturing facilities which were established in Gauteng, right? But with all of this increase in industrialization and urbanization, you needed water to sustain this development, right? So two water projects were developed, right? Which was the first one was known as the Orange River Water Project, which fundamentally composed of irrigation projects and water transfer schemes, right? And the second one is known as the Tugela Val water transfer scheme, right? Which was able to sustain Gauteng for quite a long time until about the 1960s, 70s, and 80s, in which a new sort of source of water needed to be found. Now, the effect of this industrialization was of twofold in Lesotho. Number one, it had created a migrant labor system, sourcing labor from Lesotho, right? So men from Lesotho went to Gauteng to go and work, right? This had an effect of a labor drain and a brain drain from Lesotho, which all their young men went to Gauteng to go and work. In the 1960s, South Africa started to negotiate with Lesotho to start building a huge dam system that will be transferring water from Lesotho to South Africa. This project was to be known as the Lesotho Highlands Water Project. The negotiations went on to speak about a few things. Number one, that South Africa would build dams in Lesotho, right, and bring jobs in Lesotho. And number two, that South Africa would pay royalty, water royalty money to Lesotho, right? And that South Africa would build a hydroelectric power plant to supply cheap electricity to Lesotho, right? And the agreement which they would have come to at that time never included inflation, right? And the Lesotho government actually doubted that an apartheid government, white government, would actually treat them as equals in this agreement or in this water project. And in 1985, the South African apartheid government decided to invade Lesotho and to institute a coup and put a government that will fundamentally expel freedom fighters and guerrilla fighters from the Mkhonto Wesizwe military group. And in 1986, the agreement on the Lesotho Highlands Water Project was signed, right? And it fundamentally didn't mention any inflation, right? It did have the benefits of creating jobs as part of the construction and the maintenance of the dam, right? It also had perks of creating hydroelectric power, right? And they also received a water perk. So that was the nature of the deal in 1986. Now, basically, the Lesotho Highland Water Project is reviewed every 12 years, right? The deal which was actually signed is reviewed every 12 years. So from the time that the deal was signed in 1986, right, it had no inclusion of inflation in it. Now, when we look at the situation, especially after the COVID situation, when the inflation globally was going crazy, right, it rendered Lesotho fundamentally paying for South Africa's water projects, right? So, hopefully, when they review this deal, which is, I think it's up for it sometime 2022, 2023, right? So hopefully Lesotho is going to include, what can I say, inflation within the deal. As a suggestion, I would say they must include, I'd say, aquaculture projects, right, as part of the deal, right, and irrigation projects to basically deal with the drying landscape which came from constructing the dams and redirecting the flows of the water and basically enclosing the river flows, right? So they should watch out to that for that as a country and make sure that they negotiate a proper deal that is sustainable. Thank you for this opportunity. I'll see you in the next video.